Thank you for joining us on the long form story, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Niranjan, and tonight on the show, the biggest stories of the last week from the heartland of Madhya Pradesh, a story we brought to you. A chilling investigation carried out by Republic as women were laid out like cattle on the ground and sterilized in shocking conditions. An eye-opener, story that went largely unreported by the rest of the media. Republic gets you a long-form report. Who authorized that sterilization? Who looked away? Next up on the show, in the tense buffer zones of Manipur, the silence is deceptive. From Madhya Pradesh, we go to Manipur, where violence has resurfaced, and for the first time on national television, we enter the buffer zones of Manipur. That show is also lined up. The entire story, the report from the heart of Manipur, lined up on the show. And next up, in United Kingdom, there's a dramatic twist in the Epstein Royal saga. He's referred to as the Epstein Royal, the first in 400 years to be arrested. There are fresh developments in the shadow of Jeffrey Epstein and the renewed scrutiny around Andrew, who was dramatically arrested this week. And next up, across the border, tensions are escalating. Pakistan has issued a démarche to Taliban. It's a diplomatic warning and maybe even a prelude to something far more dangerous, perhaps. It's a new war loading. And finally, we get to the story from Kerala, where another human trafficking racket has been busted. The network, the victims, the masterminds, the questions, and a report on how men and women were trafficked to Jordan. 5 stories investigated on the long form in the last week. We just told you the poor don't matter in Madhya Pradesh. That story is first up. Manipur's buffer zones lined up on the long form story in just a few minutes. Everything you need to know about Andrew, the mention in the Epstein files, and the first royal to be arrested in 400 years. A new war loading between Pakistan and Afghanistan likely. We get you a report on what exactly is happening as tensions escalate. Story from Kerala as people are trafficked and the traffickers get away. All of last week, ladies and gentlemen, we brought you pictures from Dhar in Madhya Pradesh, where at a government sterilization camp, women, the poorest of poor, were brought and made to undergo sterilization in pathetic conditions. A wake-up call for our healthcare. And this was happening at a time when the state government in Madhya Pradesh has been under intense scanner on the back of the water poison deaths. And the story we bring to you tonight is of the 180 women who underwent sterilization in about 6 to 8 hours, which means it's roughly 2 minutes per sterilization in pathetic conditions in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Now, we went to Dhar in Madhya Pradesh to bring you this investigative report. Take a look.
These are the pictures from the Bagh Community Health Center in Dhar district, Madhya Pradesh. The only medical center in a long stretch. 1 week ago, a sterilization camp was organized by the state government. A procedure referred to as Nasbandi, which should take at least 30 minutes, were completed in 2 minutes each.
धार जिले के बाग सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र में गंभीर लापरवाही उजागर हुई है। कुछ घंटों में 175 महिलाओं की नसबंदी करा दी जाती है। ये हॉस्पिटल है, सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र है और यहाँ पर हम आपको दिखाते हैं कि किस तरह से 3 घंटे में 175 महिलाओं के ऑपरेशन तो करे, नसबंदी उनकी कर दी गई और उसके बाद उन्हें कहाँ पर, ये वो स्पॉट है जहाँ पर महिलाओं को खुले में लिटा दिया गया। ये जो आप हॉस्पिटल के अंदर की जगह देख रहे हैं, ये जो परिसर है, यहाँ पर ही खुले में जो महिलाएं हैं उन्हें लिटा दिया गया था। यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं गंदगी का भी अंबार है। यहाँ इसी गंदगी के बीच इतनी चिलचिलाती धूप में 13 तारीख को एक जो महिलाएं हैं जो नसबंदी कराने आई थी उनको इस तरह से यहाँ पर लिटा दिया जाता है। लेकिन आप समझ सकते हैं कि एक सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र में जहाँ पर कि यहाँ कम आर्थिक रूप से कमजोर लोग नसबंदी कराने आते हैं, सरकार की योजना है उसी के तहत वो यहाँ पर ऑपरेशन कराने आते हैं, लेकिन उन्हें जमीन पर लिटा दिया जाता है। बेड नहीं होते हैं, बेड की व्यवस्था नहीं की जाती है। नियमों को ताक पर रखकर एक दिन में कुछ घंटों में 175 नसबंदी कर दी जाती है, जो कि मध्य प्रदेश स्वास्थ्य विभाग की बड़ी लापरवाही को उजागर करता है।
Around 180 women arrive with children and relatives. Witnesses report limited drinking water, inadequate seating, and shortage of beds. Every laid down rule of medical ethics were violated because the state is not equipped to give adequate health care. All safety and medical protocols were ignored to rush through surgeries.
हम आपको एक चार्ट दिखाते हैं। इस सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र के बाहर आप इस चार्ट को देखिए। परिवार नियोजन के लिए प्रोत्साहित करने का ये पूरा एक चार्ट है जिसमें बताया गया कि अगर पुरुष व्यक्ति नसबंदी कराता है तो हितग्राही को 3000 रुपए मिलेंगे, मतलब जो नसबंदी कराता है उसे 3000 मिलेंगे, और प्रेरक को 400 रुपए मिलेंगे, मतलब पुरुष को नसबंदी के लिए प्रेरित करने वाले को 400 रुपए मिलेंगे। महिला नसबंदी अगर कराती है तो उस हितग्राही को 2000 रुपए सरकार की तरफ से दिए जाएंगे और इस महिला को प्रेरित करने वाले के लिए 300 रुपए रखा गया है। मतलब ये कि जो हॉस्पिटल में नसबंदी के लिए महिला को या पुरुष को लाते हैं उनको प्रोत्साहन राशि दी जाती है।
The scale intensifies concern. A private surgeon, Dr. Rakesh Davar, was reportedly assigned a very high number of procedures. He arrived at the center only around 3 p.m. and was tasked with the 180 procedures. Staff indicated operations were conducted at a rapid pace, raising questions about safety protocols.
सर, डॉक्टर बड़वाने से बुलवाया है, डॉक्टर राकेश डावर। ये सर्जन है, 2 मिनट में एक ऑपरेशन कर देते हैं। तो हमारे 175 केस है, कम से कम 3-3.5 घंटे में पूरा कर देंगे।
तो इसके पहले क्या क्या जांचें करेंगे?
इसके पहले हमने जांच कराई, प्रेगनेंसी टेस्ट करवाया, बीपी लिया, खून की जांच करवाई, शुगर बीपी दोनों करवाया। फिर उसके बाद महिला को वहाँ ऑपरेशन के लिए भेजा। वहाँ पे महिला को इंजेक्शन लगता है टेस्ट के लिए, जाइलोकिन इंजेक्शन का टेस्ट होता है, एड्रेनलिन का टेस्ट होता है, ताकि किसी भी महिला को तकलीफ ना हो।
What is even more infuriating is the sheer nonchalance of the officials involved. Dr. Veerbhadra Singh Mubail, the responsible officer of the health department, was not even present at the camp. He arrived after the staff informed him about the media's arrival, saying he was in a meeting, unaware 180 women were being sterilized.
कितनी महिलाओं की एक दिन में नसबंदी की जाती है?
केस मैक्सिमम करा सकते हैं,
30 केस मैक्सिमम करा सकते हैं। तो 175 क्यों करा दी गई, इसका कोई वजह क्लियर हो पाया?
अब क्यों करा दे वो तो उस समय वाले बता पाएंगे, मैं तो उस समय प्रभार में था नहीं।
अच्छा सर, ये पूछ रहे हैं कि जब ये नसबंदी कराई गई 175 महिलाओं की, तो उसके बाद यहीं पर खुले में महिलाओं को लिटा दिया गया था, अव्यवस्थाएं थी, तो ऐसे में कितना खतरा होता है संक्रमण का?
हाँ, थोड़ा बहुत संक्रमण का तो रहता है। जैसे केस बढ़ते थोड़ा रख रखाव में व्यवस्था में भी डिस्टर्ब होती है, लेकिन ऐसा कोई पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव कॉम्प्लिकेशन या अभी तक कोई दूसरा कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन से हमारे पास है ऐसा कुछ नहीं, सभी केस सुरक्षित है।
Some of these tribal women came in at 8 a.m. Delays stretched to 4 p.m. Lying on the ground without beds, no post-surgery, lying on cement slabs in the scorching sun, thirsty and hungry.
जो नीचे लेटी है महिला है, परेशान हो रही है, गर्मी लग रही है, टेंट नहीं लगा।
हाँ, वो तो नहीं मिल रही है, तो सुविधा पूरी नहीं मिल रही।
Women treated like cattle. The negligence meted out to women at the sterilization camp raises serious questions about the entire health system. Local workers describe strained arrangements and call for stronger facilities. After the matter came to light, Chief Medical Health Officer Dr. Anita Singari stated that the violation was illegal. The block medical officer has been attached to district headquarters pending investigation.
ये लापरवाही हुई है। शासन के निर्देशों के अनुसार हमें 30 नसबंदी ऑपरेशन एक दिन में करने थे, लेकिन वहाँ पर जिन लोगों की जिम्मेदारी थी उनके द्वारा 30 की लिमिट को क्रॉस करते हुए कुल 173 लोगों का ऑपरेशन किया गया है, और जो कि निर्धारित मानकों के अनुसार गलत है।
क्यों ऐसा किया? जो बीएमओ है, ब्लॉक मेडिकल ऑफिसर है, उन्होंने ऐसा क्यों किया? क्या उनके कोई निजी हित है इसमें, या क्या वजह आपको लग रही है?
173 लोग तो निजी तो नहीं हो सकते हैं, है ना, किसी भी बीएमओ के, और सभी अलग अलग
हित है क्या कोई उनका? आखिर उनको ऐसा क्या था कि 30 की लिमिट, वो उनको नियम तो पता होंगे, फिर ऐसा क्यों किया?
हाँ, उसके लिए हमने खंड चिकित्सा अधिकारी को कारण बताओ नोटिस जारी किया है। उनका जवाब आएगा, उसके हिसाब से फिर हम आगे का कार्य करेंगे।
The disclosure has not only sparked local outrage but also raised questions over patient health safety and medical protocol. Government health camps remain a key source of medical access in tribal regions of Madhya Pradesh. But the Dhar incident has held a mirror to the government, showing that access is not enough if not balanced with infrastructure and patient safety. This is criminal negligence, systemic failure dressed as family planning. But this is not an isolated incident. This is just another case of state-sponsored negligence. Earlier, in Madhya Pradesh's Indore, water contamination led to multiple deaths and health crisis. Republic's boots on the ground reporting uncovered that a sewage leakage triggered the diarrhea and vomiting outbreak. With open pits on the roads acting as death traps in New Delhi, to slabs falling in an under-construction metro line in Mumbai, killing 1 and injuring 3 others, cases of civic apathy is on the rise. The question that remains is how long will citizens need to suffer, and how many more deaths till the authorities finally decide to wake up?
Another big headline last week. That of a dramatic image of a man called Andrew, a so-called former prince in the UK, seen slumped in the back of a car outside a police station in the United Kingdom. And that picture has ignited a debate over accountability at the highest levels of the British monarchy. The arrest of the former royal, long shadowed by allegations, controversy, scandals, marking an unprecedented moment in British royal history. He was detained for hours, released under investigation, and that case has triggered questions about political scrutiny, police inquiries, questions about his role, Andrew's role within the institution centered at Buckingham Palace. As he finds a mention, his name finds hundreds of mentions in the Epstein files. And his brother, Charles, the so-called King of UK, has called for the law to take its course, and Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, reiterates that nobody is above the law. The fallout of the Epstein files is beginning to play out across the world, and it seems to have started with Andrew.
A picture that's taken the internet by storm. A former prince, a royal, slumped in the back of a car outside Aylsham police station in Norfolk. The shell-shocked, disbelieving, haunted face of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has now become part of how his arrest will forever be remembered. The counterpart to this visual, one taken almost 25 years ago, of a smiling, confident prince beside a 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre in London townhouse. In this contrast lies the catch. For the first time in modern history, a senior royal is being treated like a common criminal. Virginia Giuffre, all of a tender 17 years in that picture clicked by Epstein himself, accused Mountbatten Windsor and now convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell of sexually abusing her when she was a minor. A claim that the former prince staunchly denies. But in his arrest came a win for all those disappointed with the system and a lack of action taken in the aftermath of the release, albeit partial, of the Epstein files.
We should absolutely commend the King, and we should commend the UK on how they've been handling the situation thus far. I can only relate in certain ways with how hard that would be to go up against one of your own relatives, specifically your brother. But yes, I think we have a long way to go here. There are dominoes that need to continue to fall here. My sister named over 40 men in her depositions. I think she's case in point where she's proven to be a truth teller. She had no reason to lie. She came forward because it was like the most basic level. She came forward because she wanted to protect the next generation, to inspire others to really realize that an ordinary girl can absolutely do extraordinary things. And she's proving that to the world today. So I hope that we take a closer look at Virginia's depositions. I think we should take a closer look at our survivor sisters and their depositions and what they've given already to our own government. And at this point, the real question is, when are we going to start believing survivors?
Well, I think the questions are still ongoing, aren't they? I mean, I do, absolutely. There's a thing I saw today, just before you phoned. I saw something else that said that Epstein had tried to arrange a £1 million payout from some organisation that he was negotiating with. It also said today on the UK news that his... Andrew, not Prince Andrew, let's not call him that. Andrew, his top aide, had done a secret deal with China. So there's a lot of nefarious activity going on here. And I think it will all come out. I think, I know they've also, the Congress, US Congress has requested that he does go to America to be questioned by Congress, and he should go in the same way that Peter Mandelson should go. Anyone involved in this who is named in any way whatsoever should go to Congress, and I don't think it's acceptable to say, oh, you can just do it online. I don't think that's right. I think for the sake of the royal family, as I said only yesterday, the fact he threw them under a bus and everybody else who trusted him, then I, without fear or favour, he should be made to go like anybody else would. And I don't know whether he can be subpoenaed to go, but of course it is ongoing, and of course there's going to be this has got legs to run, this story, and we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg at this stage.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor truly is no stranger to controversy. His latest arrest on the occasion of his 66th birthday, no less, on suspicion of misconduct in public office, dating back to his time as UK's trade representative. A series of allegations follow, prompted by the release of Epstein files. And it was this association to Epstein itself that led to his decade-long service as UK's trade representative coming to an end. His arrest is as reiterated before, just the latest development in a years-long saga over his dealings with Jeffrey Epstein, which has plunged the British monarchy into its biggest crisis in decades. For 11 hours, he was detained and then, with no charges, was released but under investigation. As for Andrew, he continues to harp, denying consistently and strenuously any wrongdoing.
The arrest of the former Prince Andrew is highly significant for Donald Trump and the American judicial system. We're seeing that European countries are treating this very differently. Norway has charged gross misconduct to its former prime minister, and Prince Andrew spent 11 hours in police custody yesterday, the first royal arrested since 1647. Now, he has not been formally charged with anything, but the investigation is about official misconduct in him apparently providing confidential government information to Jeffrey Epstein when the former prince, was a trade negotiator for the British government. This is a very serious charge under British law. Potentially, he could get life in prison, though I doubt anything like that will happen. King Charles has utterly separated himself. Now, on one level, the royal family always looks out for what people call the firm. But the king did not offer a single word of sympathy or support for his brother, only for law enforcement and support for law enforcement. So clearly, Andrew has been hung out to dry. Now, why does this matter in the U.S.? Well, the Trump administration has been lying and covering up. The Epstein Files Disclosure Act that Donald Trump first opposed and then signed into law requires that everything be disclosed except the identities of victims of the sex trafficking and child rape ring that was run by Jeffrey Epstein.
In fact, the Metropolitan Police says it is contacting Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's protection officers, asking them to consider whether anything they saw or heard while working for the former prince, which may be relevant to the ongoing inquiries. And on the other hand, Thames Valley Police is continuing to search Andrew's former Windsor home, Royal Lodge.
The arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, compels us to refocus our attention where it most urgently belongs, on the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. As an author and publisher of the Universal News Network, based in Palm Beach, Florida, I wish to express profound empathy for those whose lives were irreparably altered by Epstein's exploitation. Epstein's Palm Beach mansion near Mar-a-Lago was demolished 5 years ago after his suicide. Andrew's arrest and detention in the UK on suspicion of misconduct in public office stems from allegations that Andrew shared sensitive UK trade and investment information with Epstein during his tenure as the United Kingdom's Special Representative for International Trade and Investment between the years of 2001 and 2011. And newly released US documents, Department of Justice documents, including emails from that period, appear to substantiate these claims, prompting UK authorities to act decisively. This arrest connects directly to Andrew's documented, decade-long association with Epstein, encompassing flights on the financier's private aircraft, visits to his residences, and sustained contact even after Epstein's 2008 conviction in Florida. While the current probe focuses on potential breaches of official duties rather than sexual misconduct, it inevitably revives scrutiny of the broader Epstein network and its methods of influence.
Sparked consequently are conversations surrounding whether Andrew could be removed from the line of royal succession.
Any conversations about the point that you just raised are, complicated and will have to be, discussed in the future. But right now, there's a live investigation the police are undertaking, and it's really important that investigation is able to continue without any interference, with its integrity intact. And so we need to step back and let that police investigation play out.
But for the British monarchy, it seems as tough stepping back is no longer an option. Reports suggest the UK government is now moving beyond discussions and is actively considering a high-stakes legislative strike. And if this removal from the line of succession is successful, it would be the first forced removal via legislation since the 1936 abdication of Edward VIII.
Donald Trump wants everyone to talk about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor because he doesn't want people to talk about the remainder of the Epstein files and the other powerful men, including himself, who might be named there. It's notable that the fullest information that we have from the limited release of the files and of course less than half the pages were released, and even they were heavily redacted, that the fullest information we have is about non-Americans in connection with Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilia and his financial crimes. That includes not only Andrew, it includes a former British ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson. It includes a sheikh in the Gulf who has had to resign as the head of the world's largest containers company. But the rest of the files that could identify especially Americans, they have been withheld. From the small fragments that have come out, we do know a couple of things that could be bad for Donald Trump and his associates. We know that an 86-page document which listed the potential co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, those who might be complicit in his crimes, that document was uploaded to the Justice Department website and then it was removed a few hours later. But before it was removed, a site called Midas Touch was able to upload the document. So we know the identities of some of the people who were named in that.
What did his family have to say on it? King Charles said the law must take its course in seemingly a difficult personal moment for the king to set such a public distance between himself and his younger brother. As is famously said, nobody is above the law, and soon it seems nobody will be above the line of succession either.
Nearly 3 years after ethnic violence scarred the state of Manipur, questions remain over the so-called buffer zones that cut through communities along a key highway. Along National Highway 2 in Manipur, what should be a lifeline now resembles a monitored corridor with barricades, escorts, and regulated crossings shaping daily movement. The administration in Manipur maintains that these buffer zones have been dismantled. But our ground report on Republic TV suggests otherwise. Our correspondent in Manipur, Lin Thoy, traveled across the critical stretches inside these buffer zones to examine whether they ensure security or they deepen divisions in Manipur. This is a long-form special broadcast from Manipur.
This is National Highway 2 in Manipur, a strategic lifeline that today stands scarred by division. These visuals are not of an international border separating two nations. They capture an internal demarcation, an official yet rigid divide cleaving two communities within the same state. Republic correspondent Lin Thoy traveled this sensitive corridor to examine what remains of these buffer zones.
Manipur has been facing a lot of hurdles during this ongoing conflict since May 3rd, 2023. After the government formation on February 4th, 2026, the movement of Meitei to the Kangpokpi area has partially lifted. Meiteis cannot move freely inside the Kangpokpi area without security. Despite Kuki MLA has become a deputy CM, the restriction has still partially imposed in this area.
These on your screen are the three critical stretches of this buffer zone that continue to function as de facto separation lines nearly 3 years after violence engulfed Manipur. The administration insists the buffer zones have been dismantled. The ground reality suggests otherwise. Movable barricades, layered security cordons, regulated crossings. The architecture of separation remains intact. But is it enhancing security or deepening the divide years after the conflict?
The presence of barricade has been decreased. In Kangpopi National Highway and Imphal West, there is no more buffer zone, or there is no more, barricades. In Thoubal to Teinopal district, in Palel, there is no more barricade. So it is now only in Churachandpur and Bishnupur district, along Imphal Churachandpur road, only some checkpoints and barricades are there. Other than that, there is no checkpoint or barricade there in Ukhrul Road, Imphal Ukhrul Road. There is no checkpoint in Imphal to Jiribam Road. So it is only now decreased, confined only to Churachandpur Imphal Road. So that is purely for security purpose, and with the with the absence of mob violence anymore, I think that will also go away very soon in due course.
Our first stop, the Palel Buffer Zone, the long stretch that runs along National Highway 102. Republic reached the exact spot, and here's what we saw.
As you can see, here we can see the movable police barricade here, metal police barricade over there, and that is the invisible buffer zone between Meitei and Kuki community. A person from Meitei community cannot cross that area, and a person from Kuki community cannot cross this area. So it is an invisible buffer zone divided between Meitei community and the Kuki community.
Residents declined to speak on record, citing fear of reprisals from armed groups operating in the vicinity. Silence here is not identical. It is imposed by circumstance.
Palel is no sort of reflection of the other important areas. Palel is just a junction, a marketplace, and I'm surprised that there's free movement around there, and one has to get it to the bottom of how this is happening. For the rest of us who are in the parts of our areas, this is quite enigmatic. This should not happen. I'm not saying that there should be killing and shooting and all that, but the buffer zones are the only points where both sides of the communities are kept safe.
Next, we reached Kanglatong Big Buffer Zone, situated in Imphal West District, bordering Mountbatten in Kangpokpi District. A long stretch along National Highway 02. This area is predominantly Nepali. It is also home to several other communities, including Kukis, Meiteis, and Nagas. What was once an uninterrupted highway now resembles a monitored corridor.
Right now I'm in Kanglatong, which falls under Imphal West District. Next to this is Mountbatten, which falls under Kangpokpi District, which is mainly dominated by Kuki communities. Meanwhile, in Kanglatong, Naga, Nepali, and Meitei are coexisting together without any conflict, without any tension among them.
Local from Kanglatong told us about the movements in buffer zone.
अभी बफर जोन गवर्नमेंट का साइड से नहीं तो मतलब मेरे अथॉरिटी के साइड से बफर जोन अभी नहीं है, लेकिन हमारा इधर में ग्राउंड रीति में अभी भी बफर जोन चल रहा है। दोनों तरफ का पार्टी इधर उधर घूमने में अभी नहीं हो रहा है। मतलब इधर हमारा एरिया में अभी हमारा ये इमा का खेल एक बड़ा मार्केट है, इसमें मैती कम्युनिटी आने में अभी मैती कम्युनिटी थोड़ा आ रहा है, लेकिन ये कम्युनिटी इधर में आ नहीं सकता है, तो इसके वजह से हमारा इकोनॉमी भी डाउन हो गया।
Military and political implications that it has with this very term buffer zone. But as per my experience over the recent past, when we met with the Honorable Governor of the state, Mr. A.K. Ballaji, at his Lok Bhavan office in January 12th, I have categorically asked him if there is a buffer zone or not. And he said there is no buffer zone. Buffer zone cannot be created between the same administration jurisdictions. So there is no point of creating a buffer zones. Of course, there is a security line to secure the civilian populations, because there needs to maintain certain distance so that any anti-peace elements or terror elements should not be able to target and reach up to the neighboring civilian population or people.
The Phogakchao Ikai, the buffer zone located near Churachandpur, once an epicenter of Manipur crisis. Tensions still remain high in Phogakchao Ikai. Though the government claims there are 3 buffer zones, what Republic saw tells us a different story.
This area is very close to Churachandpur district. Phogakchao Ikai falls under the Bishnupur district. Next to Phogakchao is Kangwai and Torbung Bangla. Torbung is there, Bangla is there, which falls under. I'm now at Phogakchao Ikai in Bishnupur district. This area is very close to the Churachandpur. So from here, next to Phogakchao is Kangwai, and then the next is Torbung, then Bangla, which all falls under this Bishnupur district. No one can enter freely passing these barricades.
We have also seen that the measures, security measures being taken up in the hill areas are not very efficient and effective. Several unregulated arms are being, carried and many of the youths are holding arms, and terrorist activities are being still carrying out in the hill areas, which is yet to be controlled and contained. So as long as these elements are being left like that in the hill areas, we are not optimistic about restoring peace in its real terms.
3 years after the Manipur violence, the new cabinet is in power. Yet the start of 2026 has already seen tensions flare across multiple districts. Many question the existence of buffer zones. But are they a need of the hour or the new normal of Manipur?
Tensions escalating again between Islamabad and Kabul. This is after a deadly attack in Bajaur left at least 11 Pakistani soldiers dead in the last week. Pakistan has now issued a formal diplomatic démarche to the Taliban administration in Afghanistan, alleging that it was terrorists from the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan who operated from Afghan soil, an allegation they've been making for years now, a charge which Kabul has strongly denied for the longest time. And this latest flashpoint along the Durand line has revived long-standing tensions with fresh political claims, regional implications, drawing in India as well. Here's a long-form report on the growing strain along the Pakistan-Afghanistan frontier and whether we are running into another season of war.
Tensions sharpen again between Islamabad and Kabul. By the time the smoke settles in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Bajaur, 11 Pakistani soldiers, including 1 civilian, lie dead. Islamabad points fingers right across the border. It issues a formal démarche to the Taliban regime. A diplomatic protest delivered in Islamabad over what it calls the use of Afghan soil for terror attacks. Islamabad says the attackers operated from Afghan soil. They belonged to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, the TTP. The accusation was immediate, direct, and unambiguous. Following the attack, Pakistan's Foreign Office summoned the Afghan deputy head of mission in Islamabad. Islamabad demanded a verifiable action against militants.
Pakistan issued a formal diplomatic protest, which is basically a demarch to the Afghanistan-Taliban regime, following a terror attack on the military camp in North Waziristan, where 4 Pakistani soldiers were killed. And what Pakistan claims is that it is this attack has been carried out by Kharji Gul Bahadur group, which is linked to Taliban Pakistan. So as a result, what diplomatic action that Pakistan has taken is that it has summoned the deputy head of the mission to Pakistan in the Ministry of Affairs in Islamabad.
Sadly, there has been terrorism increase in Pakistan itself. Imagine the perpetrator, originator and harborer of the terrorism, the creator of terrorism is going through terrorism itself. And what a joke when they are saying they give a demarch order to the Taliban government. That same very Taliban government which they had been supporting, which they had been creating for the terrorism. It is none other, their own defense minister had acknowledged that for the US they did the dirty job.
Bajaur is not the only flashpoint of this clash. The strain has remained between the two from not days or months but years. Pakistan's obsession of bringing India into this picture was not a surprise. Within days, Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif brings India into the frame. On October 9, 2025, Pakistan carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan targeting TTP. Each side accused the other of harboring militants. Khwaja Asif alleges that India and Afghanistan are aligned against Pakistan.
जिस मट्टी में से उनको फायदा मिल रहा है, जिस मुल्क से, जिस सरजमीन से उनको फायदा मिल रहा है, उस मुल्क के साथ दुश्मनी कर रहे हैं। सर, ये अब बर्दाश्त नहीं होगा। हमें यकसू होके मिनहसुल कौम जो है जवाब देना पड़ेगा इन लोगों को जो उनको पनाहगाहें मुयस्सर करते हैं, चाहे वो हमारी सरजमीन पे हैं या वो अफगानिस्तान की सरजमीन के ऊपर हैं। इसमें किसी को कोई शक नहीं होना चाहिए। अगर किसी गांव से या किसी पनाहगाह से 4 या 5 या 10 या 15 आदमी निकल के हमारे किसी फौजी काफले के ऊपर जो है हमला करते हैं, उसका जवाब जो है हो सकता है सबको साथ कोलैटरल डैमेज भी हो।
This is not the first time that Khwaja Asif has invoked India during Pakistan-Afghanistan tensions. But this time the clash comes amid active cross-border strain. New Delhi responded firmly. It reiterated its position on terror and dismissed the allegations.
Our ties with Afghanistan, you know where we are in our relations with Afghanistan, and you also know where we are in our relations with Pakistan. So I will leave it at that. The real problem in our ties with Pakistan, as you know, is cross-border terrorism that needs to be addressed.
As diplomacy plays out in India, the 2,006-kilometer-long Durand line flares again. Kabul denies providing safe haven. Islamabad remains unconvinced. The démarche formalizes this distrust. A démarche delivered 11 soldiers buried and an allegation that expands the conflict beyond border. In this tightening triangle of Islamabad, Kabul and New Delhi, even as violence erupts within its own frontier, Islamabad looks outward for answers.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting you this exclusive report from Kerala on the long-form story. We've heard of so many cases of people being trafficked from Kerala, people going missing from Kerala. But this chilling case linking job promises, cross-border trafficking, allegations, and a fatal shooting is raising serious questions for authorities in Kerala. 3 men who travelled to Jordan on tourist visas were allegedly abducted, shot while attempting to cross a border. 2 survived with injuries and 1 never returned home. Investigators have named Biju Jalas as the key accused, but despite an FIR and a rejected bail petition, he remains untraceable. Our ground report from Kerala examines the testimonies of survivors, the family's search for justice, and questions surrounding the investigation, and whether these traffickers, after all, are being investigated, are being shielded in Kerala.
Three men from Kerala who travelled to Jordan on the tourist visa issued by the Jordan ministry. A year ago, all 3 were abducted and shot while attempting to cross the border. All were the residents of Kerala who left their homeland in search of a livelihood. 2 returned, bruised, tormented, and terrified. 1 never came back.
Some months back, several people living in Pondura, Tumba, and other parts of Thiruvananthapuram were taken to Jordan by promising a better job in Israel. These people are dreaming of a better life, trusted the promises of Baiju Elias, the key accused in the human trafficking case registered at Karakutam police station. After reaching Jordan, 2 people died. 1 among them was shot dead by Jordanian soldiers. Several others came back with the support of Indian embassy in Jordan. So now they are struggling hard to move their life ahead.
The man on your screen, Biju Jalas, just another ordinary citizen, yet behind his everyday routines lurked a sinister plan, a mastermind from Kerala working for a nexus that operated from Jordan. A year later, he's free and absconding, but the question is the police truly trying to track him down? Our investigation will not only expose the operations of Biju Jalas, but also reveal the cracks within the Kerala police even after the court rejected his bail plea. And the families are still reeling from the trauma, still waiting, each bruise a haunting reminder of what they endured.
This family but has not registered any case so far. Now they say they don't want to go legally against Biju Jalas, as the people who filed the complaints did not get justice. And what's the point of registering a case with the police who are taking a cold approach in the cases which are already registered? Biju Jalasine എങ്ങനെയാ പരിചയം?
ജിബു ജലാസ് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടുകാരനാണ്. പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ മരിച്ചുപോയ അളിയൻ്റെ ഫ്രണ്ടും കൂടെയാണ്, ക്ലാസ്മേറ്റും കൂടെയാണ്.
പുള്ളി ജോലി തരാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയി?
അതെ, ജോലി തരാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയി.
എത്ര രൂപ കൊടുത്തു? എത്ര ശമ്പളം തരുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു?
3.5 ലക്ഷം രൂപ ശമ്പളം കിട്ടുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ 5 ലക്ഷം രൂപ സഹകരണ ബാങ്കിൽ നിന്ന് ലോൺ എടുത്ത് കൊടുത്തത്. ആ ലോൺ എടുത്ത് കൊടുത്തതിൽ സാക്ഷി ഒപ്പിട്ടേക്കുന്നതും ബിജു ജലാസ് തന്നെയാണ്.
നിങ്ങൾ അവിടെ നടന്ന സംഭവങ്ങൾ, നിങ്ങൾ പറയുന്ന പോലെ ബാബ ആൾ കണ്ട കാര്യങ്ങളും എങ്ങനെയാണ് എന്നൊന്ന് ചുരുക്കി പറയും. എന്താണ് അവിടെ സംഭവിച്ചത്?
ബിജു നമ്മളെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ബിജു വരുമെന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ഇസ്രായേലിലോട്ട് ഞാനും കൂടെ വരും, നിങ്ങളുടെ കൂടെ പേടിക്കണ്ട, ഞാനും കൂടെ വരുമെന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. അവിടെ ചെന്നപ്പോൾ ബിജു പറഞ്ഞു ഇല്ല, അവിടെ ബാബ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന അയാളുടെ കീഴിൽ കൊടുക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. ഇന്നലെയും ഒരു 4-5 പേര് പോയിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വീഡിയോ ഒക്കെ കാണിച്ചു തന്നു. 4-5 പേര് പോയിരുന്നു. ആ സക്സസ് ആയിട്ട് അവർ അവിടെ എത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
ഇപ്പോഴാണ് ഈ പട്ടാളക്കാർ വെടിയുയർത്തുന്നൊരു സാഹചര്യത്തിലേക്ക് എത്തിയത്.
അവർ കാറിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് നമ്മളെ ഒരു തുറസായ സ്ഥലത്ത് കൊണ്ടിട്ട് ഇറക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. നമ്മുടെ മൊബൈലിൽ അവരുടെ സിമ്മ് തന്ന് ആ സിമ്മ് എടുപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പ് തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് അയാൾ ലൊക്കേഷൻ ഇട്ട് തരികയായിരുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ലൊക്കേഷൻ നോക്കി പോകുമ്പോഴാണ് കമാൻഡോസ് ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്.
ഓക്കെ, പിന്നീട് ബിജു ജലാസ് എന്താണ് പറഞ്ഞത് ഈ സംഭവം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട്?
ഞാൻ അതിനുശേഷം ബിജു ജലാസിനെ ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല.
ഇതിനകത്ത് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ അല്ല അന്തർദേശീയ തലത്തിലുള്ള എന്തെങ്കിലും റാക്കറ്റോ മനുഷ്യക്കടത്ത് സംഘങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലും ബന്ധമുണ്ടോ ബിജു ജലാസിന്?
ബന്ധമുണ്ടോ ഇല്ലെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല. കാരണം വെച്ചാൽ ഒരുപാട് പേരെ ഇപ്പം എൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ തന്നെ ഒരുപാട് പേരെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി എന്നുള്ള എനിക്കറിയാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ പൂന്തറയിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു 10 പേരെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി, അതിലൊരാളുടെ ഡെത്തായെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. പിന്നെ പുതുക്കുറിച്ചിയിൽ നിന്ന് കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇവിടെ തന്നെ തുമ്പയിൽ തന്നെ അവൻ്റെ ചേച്ചിയുടെ മോനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി. അത് ഞാൻ വണ്ടി ഇവിടുന്ന് ഓട്ടോ സ്റ്റാൻഡ് അടുത്താണ് ആറാട്ട് വഴിയിൽ. അവിടെ അവനും വന്ന് സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ മൊഴി കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇങ്ങനെ ഇതിന് മുമ്പത്തെ ട്രിപ്പിൽ അവനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി അവനെ പറ്റിച്ച് അവൻ അവിടെ കിടന്ന് ഇങ്ങനെ കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് ആണ് തിരിച്ച് ജോലി ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് തിരിച്ച് ടിക്കറ്റ് എടുത്ത് നാട്ടിൽ കയറി വന്നു. അല്ലാതെ വേറൊരാളിനെ ഒരു ബാബു എന്ന് പറയുന്ന അയാളുടെ വൈഫിനെയും കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് അത് ഭയങ്കര പ്രശ്നമായി. അവരിവിടെ വന്നിട്ട് ബിജു ജലാസിൻ്റെ അമ്മേനെ കൊണ്ട് അവരുടെ വീട്ടിൽ കൊണ്ട് പൂട്ടിയിട്ടിരുന്നു. ആ പൂട്ടിയിട്ടിരുന്നിട്ട് തിരിച്ച് ഇപ്പം ക്യാഷ് കൊടുത്തതിന് ശേഷമാണ് തുറന്നു വിട്ടത്.
എന്തെങ്കിലും മറ്റേ തീവ്രവാദ സംഘങ്ങളുമായിട്ടോ മറ്റെന്തെങ്കിലും ഗ്രൂപ്പുകളായിട്ടോ ഇതിനെന്തെങ്കിലും കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടോ?
ഗ്രൂപ്പുകളുമായിട്ട് കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടോ എന്നറിയത്തില്ല. കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മരിയനാട് നിന്ന് പോയ ഒരു കൊച്ച്, ആ കൊച്ചിന് വന്നിട്ട് പിക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പോയത് ഇവനാണ്. അത് ആ കൊച്ചു പോയ ഏജന്റ് വന്നിട്ട് ചെന്നൈയിലാണ്.
എന്താണ് ശരിക്കും എങ്ങനെയാണ് ബിജു ജലാസ്?
എൻ്റെ ചേട്ടൻ്റെ കൂട്ടുകാരനാണ്, ചേട്ടൻ്റെ കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് പഠിച്ചതാ. അതിലുപരി എനിക്ക് വേറെ ഒന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല. പക്ഷേ പുള്ളിക്കാരന് ഭയങ്കര വിശ്വാസമായിരുന്നു.
ഈ ബിജു ജലാസ് ഒരാളെ അല്ല, ഒരുപാട് പേരെ പല രാജ്യങ്ങളിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് ജോലി ഇസ്രായേലിൽ തരാം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയത്. എന്താണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ പിന്നിലുള്ള ഒരു നയം? എവിടെയാണ് ഈ ചീറ്റിംഗ് നടക്കുന്നത്?
ശരിക്കും എവിടെ വെച്ചാണെന്നൊന്നും എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല.
എന്താ ബൈജു ജലാസിന് മറ്റെന്തെങ്കിലും രാജ്യാന്തര കടത്ത് സംഘവുമായിട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലും ബന്ധമുണ്ടോ?
ഇപ്പോഴാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ കുറേച്ച് അറിയുന്നത്. ഇങ്ങനെ ഈ മരണത്തിനോട് അനുബന്ധിച്ചാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ അറിയുന്നത് വേറെ ആൾക്കാർ ഇങ്ങനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന്. അതുവരെ എനിക്കൊന്നും അറിയത്തില്ലായിരുന്നു.
ഈ കൊണ്ടുപോകുന്നതിന്റെ പിന്നിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും മറ്റുദ്ദേശമുണ്ടോ?
വേറെ ഉദ്ദേശമൊന്നും ചേട്ടന് പോലും വിശ്വസിക്കത്തില്ലായിരിക്കും. കാരണം പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ അത്രയും വിശ്വാസമായിരുന്നു നാട്ടുകാരനും കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് പഠിച്ചത് കൊണ്ടും. അതുകൊണ്ട് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ചേട്ടനും അങ്ങനെ ഒന്നും തോന്നി കാണത്തില്ല.
The FIR against Biju Jalas was filed on 18th June 2025. His bail plea was later rejected by the state courts. Yet, there is no sign of Biju Jalas. Where is he? No one knows. And when Republic reached out to the authorities, we were met with complete silence. The victims claim that the police probe is being obstructed and they point to the influence of Biju Jalas.
പോലീസ് അന്വേഷണം കാര്യമായി നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
പോലീസ് അന്വേഷണം കാര്യമായിട്ട് നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോയെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എനിക്കറിയില്ല. അറസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ഒരു പത്രത്തിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ വന്നായിരുന്നു ജാമ്യം നിഷേധിച്ചെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്. പക്ഷേ അതിനുശേഷം ഞങ്ങൾ കഴക്കൂട്ടത്ത് ഒത്തിരി പ്രാവശ്യം പോയായിരുന്നു. എസ് ഐ പറഞ്ഞു ചേട്ടൻ്റെ എല്ലാ ഡോക്യുമെൻറ്റ്സും ഒറിജിനൽ കൊണ്ടു കൊടുക്കണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ്. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാം ഞങ്ങൾ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. എനിക്ക് തിരിച്ച് തരികയും ചെയ്തു. പാസ്പോർട്ട് മാത്രം ഇപ്പോഴും സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ തന്നെയാണ്, പോലീസിൻ്റെ കയ്യിലാണ്. അപ്പം ആദ്യം പറഞ്ഞു ഇങ്ങനെ ഉടനെ അറസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാകുമെന്ന് ഇങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞതല്ലാതെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഉള്ളതായിട്ടൊന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല.
Republic senior correspondent Sankar CJ tracked down Biju Jalas' mother, who claims that 2 Carolites, Edison and Gabrielle, who were shot dead in Jordan, were taken to Jordan with their consent.
അവർ എഴുതി കൊടുത്ത് അവർ സൈൻ ചെയ്ത് എല്ലാം ചെയ്തു. രണ്ടും കൂട്ടുകാരന്മാർ എൻ്റെ വീട്ടിൽ ഇരുന്ന പ്രമാണം വരെ എടുത്തോണ്ട് പോയി. എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടുവച്ചൊക്കെയാണ് അവർ 3 പേരും കൂടെ പോയി. അവിടെ സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ജോലിയുണ്ട്, കമ്പനിയുണ്ട്, ഗവൺമെൻറ് ജോലിയുണ്ട് അവൻ്റെ പിറകെ നടന്ന് എന്നെ കൂടെ കൊണ്ടുപോടാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അങ്ങനെ അവർ 2-3 പേരും കൂടെ പോയാൽ.
But when asked about his son's whereabouts, the mother seems to be just unaware as the police is. So if the FIR was filed and the court rejected his bail, Biju Jalas and his own family is unaware of his whereabouts, then why is this man still walking free? How has he managed to abscond? Where is Biju Jalas and why is police silent? Is this reach of a nexus larger than we understand or the failure of the administration?
And that's it on this edition of the Long Form Story. In case you missed the show, you can catch the repeat Sunday, 12 p.m. Thanks for watching.
calamity has been